I've waited to report on this until now. And since I just did the Calgary collection video, I figure, why not? And I wanted to look and see if there was any update on any of this. So the city of Calgary had a vote. Do you want to see the city continue to pursue the Olympics or no? And the answer was no. And I understand why the answer was no, because the Olympics, to be quite completely honest about it, it's not... Now, having had it in Vancouver, was it worth it? Yeah, probably. But did it affect all of our lives? Not really. Did it bring in a ton of work for everybody? Full time? No, not really. It's basically a big party you're paying for. Calgary was in there because they still had a lot of facilities left from 1988. So the idea was it wouldn't be that hard to just update everything, maybe add a couple of arenas, and you're good. And the idea was that the Saddle Dome was considered good enough by the IOC. They were going to do some kind of a revamp to it, just to kind of prop it up, make it look a little nicer kind of thing. But there wasn't any major plan to change over Saddle Dome or build a new arena. Now, I wanted to wait and see how this shook out. The reason I didn't do this immediately after was I wanted to see, was there going to be an immediate change in how City Council or the Calgary Flames were approaching a brand new arena? No, there isn't. There's been talks about them talking behind the scenes, but from what I understand, from what I've seen, they're talking about talking. So they're sitting down to talk about when they're going to talk about it. It's frustrating. Remember now, it was not that long ago that the Flames ownership came out and sounded an alarm. An alarm along the lines of, hey, if we don't get a new arena, we'd hate to have to move, but things happen. To which, after they were called out on it, they said, oh, we didn't mean, when we said move, we didn't mean move. We meant, have you talked to Eugene Melnick? Because he's doing so much worse with the Senators. Anyways, for the Flames, it seems to be a fight between ownership and Mayor Nenshi, and the two don't like each other. This is not news to anybody. They don't like each other. Mayor Nenshi doesn't want to put civic money behind it. And what's changed, too, for Calgary, back in 1988, you know, Alberta's this huge, almost like a mecca for Canada in terms of its drawing power. I know when I graduated high school, everybody was like, oh, I got to go get a good job. I'm moving to Alberta. And that was the thing. It's not a thing right now. Alberta's been having some financial struggles with the collapse of the oil industry, and I know people in Alberta are going to say some. I know. And now there's talk about them having a sales tax the same as most of the rest of Canada, to which I say, well, yeah, if you don't have the oil money flowing in, that's what's going to happen. So it is in that economic picture that you're trying to sell a city on, hey, let's build a new arena, and you guys can pay for it. And I don't blame fans for saying we don't want to pay for a brand new arena. Now, I've talked before on this channel about how sometimes a city will build a brand new arena, Cincinnati, and an arena or a stadium can be just this giant money hole for a city, Cincinnati. And Calgary clearly wants to avoid that, although they're also going to update their CFL team's field as well. There's a lot of things they want to change. I believe it's Soldier Field. No, not Soldier Field. That's Chicago. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It does matter for this story, because I'm not talking about the Stampeders or the CFL. I am talking about the NHL and the Saddle Dome and what they're going to do to replace it. Now, Calgary Next was something that had been talked about in a revamp of downtown, and that seems to be dead. From everything I've read today, it looks like that is at the very least beleaguered. There's a city councilor came out with an idea of basically doing kind of what Edmonton did. You build your arena, and then you build up your entertainment district around it. This is the only way that you can make your money back off of an arena. Make it so that that arena is part of a much larger picture for your city. And I look at, you know, when I was in Vegas, T-Mobile Arena is in the perfect spot for any and all tourists for Vegas. It is an absolutely perfect spot. There is no lack of things to do within walking distance of the arena. Nashville. For years, we've heard about how Nashville has this amazing neighborhood around their arena. And when we talk about arenas that aren't doing well, whether it's in Ottawa, New Jersey, it's just an arena. There's something that's changed. And I think if Calgary's going to make this work, and ultimately it's going to work for the Flames. You're going to have to build up a district around it. Now, it's tough because what I was also reading today is there's a large vacancy rate with businesses in Calgary right now. Which is crazy because there's not that long ago, Calgary, you wouldn't have seen any. But right now, there's a large vacancy rate in the city of Calgary, and selling people on the idea of building a whole bunch more buildings, it's a tough sell. So I had hoped to have more to report with this, other than things seem to be kind of stagnant between the team and the city council. There hasn't been anything that's come out since the Olympics to tell me that this helps the city. The only thing that helps the Flames here is this. The city was willing to pony up dollars to get the Olympics in there. The provincial government was willing to pony up some money to get Olympics in there. If the Calgary Flames can convince civic and provincial officials to take some of that money and put it behind a brand new arena and sell them on the idea of having it a part of this big revitalization of the city of Calgary, much like what Edmonton has been able to do there, then you might have yourself a winning ticket. But it's going to require a lot of trust on all sides. And I don't know that ownership and the mayor of Calgary have that. I know that ownership really wanted Mayor Nenshi out in the last civic election, and they were none too happy when he stayed in power. So let me know what you guys think, especially if you're in Calgary. Where do you think this ends up? Where do you think they end up building an arena? And how concerned are you about it that it's a year later and we're still talking about an arena in Calgary? Be interested to know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. Just tap it upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.